You know what I did just before getting this stream started? I did a full Windows update on this computer. Oh boy, that's always a mistake. It didn't destroy too much stuff. Not too much. Let's see. Before we get started here, am I actually streaming? Looks like I am, yeah. Looks like I am there on the YouTube. Check the Facebook. Not the announcement. Yep, there we are on the Facebook, and finally Twitter. I got to restart here or refresh. Yeah. Everything is good. We're doing what we're supposed to do. Don't worry, this is not Sunday. You haven't lost but 3 days. This is Thursday night. It is, it's late. It's 10 minutes after 10 p.m. I was going to get this rolling a little bit earlier, but again, the Windows update. Sure, what could possibly go wrong? And the reason for squeezing in an episode here is I've been doing some interesting stuff, and I wanted to show it, and it wasn't going to really fit in the Sunday show. Plus, I became aware of an event coming up this weekend, a protest event, and I never find out about these things in advance. So I thought I would share it with you. As you know, Breonna Taylor's, the police that were involved in that were primarily not charged by the district attorney in that activity, in that episode. Quiet there, triangle. So it came out this week that they were not charged. And there have been protests around the country about that, in Louisville and every place else. There was a protest in Durham that got some interesting white anarchists involved, doing some property damage. Don't know the details on that. Maybe we'll find out. But in any case, coming up on Saturday will be a protest in Raleigh at 3 to 5 p.m. on the Fayetteville Street Mall. They're calling it a rally against corruption. I think that the Breonna Taylor thing will have a lot to do with it, but they're calling it the rally against corruption, 3 until 5. And starting that early, maybe things will have cleared out before dark. Who knows who's going to stick around? But it's after dark that the violence and the real trouble seems to get started. So maybe that won't happen because they're starting this early. I got this post on Facebook from Dawn Blagrove, who's been on the show once before, and she noted about Breonna Taylor. No one's been criminally charged in her killing. Indictments are for the possibility that a policeman should have been charged. It's not a guilty verdict. It's just, what didn't happen was an indictment that a police officer may have broken the law. And then you go to court and you find out. But that's not going to happen. At least it appears that that's not going to happen in Louisville. So, as Dawn says, this is what institutional racism looks like. This is what system corruption looks like. So, yeah, this is going to be about Breonna Taylor and all the other stuff that's going on. And it occurs to me that I forgot to actually open the show. I'm going to make this an official episode, and if it's going to be an official episode, it requires this. From the studio in the bonus room above the garage on the north side of Cary at the foot of Mount Belzoni, this is the Triangle Talk Show.
This is a combo where I talk and you shut up and wear your mask.
Yeah, okay, so you're going to do the whole show for me? That would be nice. I'm Gary Pierce. I'm the Triangularian. Here's the show, episode 113, Protest, a protest episode. It's not an episode that we are protesting. You understand. September 24th, Thursday night, 2020. Pro-Americans. Pro-Americans. Would have been cool if the music ended right there. So I'll do it one more time. Pro-Americans. I'll explain what that's all about in a little bit. So, I'm not going to do the boilerplate. Jen is saying now he's not doing the boilerplate. Why can't he not do the boilerplate on some Sunday when we just want to get on and do the show? Instead, he wastes 20 minutes doing the boilerplate. I got stuff to do in the boilerplate this Sunday, so we'll do that on Sunday. The boilerplate, that's when we say the Triangle Talk Show is a YouTube show, blah, 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 blah. Just going to get on with it here. Okay, so this Saturday, and I'm doing this now because it's going to be before the Sunday show. The Saturday on the 26th, 3 to 5 p.m., Fayetteville Street Mall, rally against corruption, and look at all the speakers and activities, groups, interest groups that are going to be there. I recognize some of them. Well, most of them I don't recognize. So that's the reason I wanted to get this done, but that's not all the stuff that I've got to do on this this episode. What do I have to do? Oh, on Tuesday there was a protest. Speaking of protests, on Tuesday there was a little protest. It was at the debate outside the studio where the debate was between Tillis and Cunningham, the second North Carolina senatorial debate. Watched some of that. Cunningham did a better job. I didn't watch all of it. My YouTube TV kind of messed up. It recorded some of it, and I'm not sure it recorded the whole thing. I watched as much as it recorded, probably about half hour, 45 minutes. And Cunningham did better. He was criticized for the first debate for just kind of standing there and smirking and not really arguing back. A lot of people criticized him for that. And on the Tuesdays with Tillis, they were saying, how can we reach him and tell him that he needs to not do those things and to do better? I didn't speak up on that Zoom call, but I knew that he had plenty of people who were going to tell him that he needed to do better. And I think they got through. And so he did. So, well, we'll see what happens with that. On that Tuesdays with Tillis, they invited a young fellow on from a group called Sunrise Movement Raleigh. It's a mostly environmental group, young people high school age around that. And he spoke to them about the event that they had planned for later that Tuesday to go and protest at the TV studio. And so what I'm going to play for you is him as he made some of his presentation to Tuesdays with Tillis, and then we will kind of segue into the protest event itself, because I kind of like protest events, and I don't get to very many. So I got to this one, and I brought my trusty camera, and I thought, well, let's show you what it's all about.
My name is Owen Lockett. I'm 15 years old. I'm the hub coordinator of Sunrise Raleigh, and I have been planning this action centered around the second U.S. Senate debate with Tom Tillis and Cal Cunningham. The Sunrise Movement is not endorsing Cal Cunningham, but we are very adamant about targeting Tom Tillis with our actions. We think that his actions as a senator have been just completely horrible and horrendous for the people of the United States and for the climate, and for the communities on the front line of the climate crisis. So tonight, Just a quick run through of our action plan. We're going to be meeting at the nearby Wegmans grocery store parking lot and going over the plans for the action, what we're going to say, and our quick timeline.
So we're going to go through this song once, and then the second time through, you all can join it. So which side are you on now? Which side are you on? Which side are you on now? Which side are you on?
And then at 5:30 to 5:45, we're going to walk over to the CBS 17 building where the debate is being held. And we're going to hold an action outside of the building at 6 o'clock to hopefully meet Tillis as he's walking in. Hopefully we'll get a lot of coverage, and hopefully this will be big.
For and against, Senator Thom Tillis showed up to greet candidates as they arrived tonight. A group of veterans and a group of young climate change activists joined forces in front of our studios.
We're demanding that the voters take a side and vote against Thom Tillis because this election is the most important of our lifetime.
And North Carolina is a very pivotal race, not just for the Senate, but also for the presidency and for our House of Representatives. We need to take that back.
One of the top priorities for all the protesters we talked to tonight, the nomination for the next judge to take a seat on the Supreme Court.
So if you guys want to set up here.
Okay, hold on just a second. Hold on. Because that story was a bit of a mess. The news anchor, the reporter, the anchor that was reading the story said that there were a group of young people and a group of veterans, and they joined forces. But what they showed was, and that's true, what they showed was the young people, the Sunrise Movement rally people, and then they showed some folks who were across the street, and there were some veterans, and they were pro-Tillis people, Trump people, basically. And there were some veterans in there. And that's what they showed when they talked about a group of veterans who joined forces with the young Sunrise people. Well, the Sunrise people did not join forces with those veterans. But there was a group of veterans, veterans against the war. Let's see, do I have a picture showing that? Yeah, you can sort of see it. There's somebody standing in front of it, but veterans against Tillis. So there were veterans there with the Sunrise Raleigh people, and there were veterans there on the other side, and it got a little confusing in that report, which you might not have even paid attention to as I was playing it. So I'm going to run it one more time because it was a little bit weird. So here they are once again walking up there and saying that they hope they get some coverage, and I interrupt things to show you that they did.
Meet Tillis as he's walking in. Hopefully we'll get a lot of coverage, and hopefully this will be big.
For and against, Senator Thom Tillis showed up to greet candidates as they arrived tonight. A group of veterans and a group of young climate change activists joined forces in front of our studios.
Okay, yep, they joined forces, but not those people.
We're demanding that.
Okay, now here's something else that indicates that things were a little bit wacky going on at the TV station. Watch the lower third. That's Owen's title, Owen Lockett. That he was the fellow that talked at Tuesdays with Tillis.
The voters take a side and vote against Thom Tillis.
And then they changed his title to someone named Michelle Morrow, and it says supports Cal Cunningham. That's not that's not Michelle Morrow. That's still Owen Lockett.
Because this election is the most important of our lifetime.
And North Carolina is a very pivotal
And I guess that's Michelle. And,
race, not just for the Senate, but
and now her title has changed to supports Senator Tillis. So a little bit confusing over at CBS 17.
also for the presidency and for our House of Representatives. We need to take that back.
One of the top priorities for all the protesters we talked to tonight, the nomination for the next judge to take a seat on the Supreme Court.
Okay, and yeah, that's definitely true. Now, I'm going to switch back to the switch back to the protest in just a moment. What's going to happen immediately when I switch back is that the young people are going to encounter a police officer as they were walking up to the TV station, and he is going to tell them where they can set up. And being young protesters, they are going to fight the power, fight the man tooth and nail. They are not going to capitulate to that police officer's will. They are going to just...
If you guys want to set up outside over here, we can move these cars so we're not in your way. If you guys want to get over there,
they're just going to say, okay, I appreciate it, sir.
Able to make it, that
just going to say, okay.
That was fun though.
Which side are you on now? Which side are you on? Which side are you on now? Which side are you on? Which side are you on now? Which side are you on?
That will be coming out in force this election to tell Tom Tillis that his time is up and tell Cal Cunningham that his time is ours. Wake up, Tillis, you can't hide, we can see your greedy side.
Wake up, Tillis, you can't hide, we can see your greedy side.
Wake up, Tillis, you can't hide, we can see your greedy side.
Wake up, Tillis, you can't hide, we can see your greedy side.
Wake up, Tillis, you can't hide, we can see your greedy side.
Wake up, Tillis, you can't hide, we can see your greedy side.
Hi, my name is Karen. I'm the lead organizer for Tuesdays with Tillis. I would like the people across here to know that this is the Sunrise Movement. It's a youth-led movement. And they have finally let me speak because we have been gathering in front of Senator Tillis's office for hundreds of weeks. We've been trying to get him to listen to the people of North Carolina. Does he listen to the people of North Carolina? No! He listens to his donors. Boo! He listens to billionaires and corporations. Boo! Billionaires and corporations have been in the process of buying the courts for decades. That's right. And that is what this is about. That is what this is about. The few white men who own this country and this economy want to buy the rest of the courts. And Tillis and McConnell and his friends are bought. And we say there's more of us than there are of these few corporations and billionaires. We are here because we want clean air and clean water. We are here in solidarity with the indigenous people all over the world. Who are fighting and dying for their land and their water. We are here in solidarity with the people of color who were genocided at the beginning of this country, who were enslaved and built the economy of this country. We are here in solidarity with them because we say enough. Enough. We say the country has to come to terms with itself and who it really is. We say there are more of us and we will have our voices heard. We will vote and we will win.
Tom Tillis is stripping millions of their right to potentially life-saving reproductive health care. Does that keep him up at night? Tom Tillis is stripping millions of their right to freely express their sexuality without the risk of being subject to violence from bigots. Does that keep him up at night? He is defending the people that murder and violently attack black bodies on a daily basis under the name of law and order. Does that keep him up at night? What will you do, North Carolina? Will you let Tom Tillis continue to take away your rights and dignity? Or will you join us in ushering in a new era of peace, justice, and solidarity?
Yeah.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on now? Which side are you on? Which side are you on now? Which side are you on? Which side are you on now? Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
I guess that's done. All right. Okay, back to me. It's interesting to see that this young people's movement has adopted old protest songs. I think that's an old protest song. At Tuesdays with Tillis, they do a lot of music, and most of it is, again, old protest songs. But the folks at Tuesdays with Tillis are mostly fairly old. Not all of them, but a lot of them are. I'm 70, almost 71. A lot of them are my age, so I can see why they would do protest songs from the 60s. But and they've updated some. But it's interesting to see that the kids are doing that. I guess maybe they do some contemporary stuff as well. I don't know. So, the title for the show. I'm looking at an icon for some video here that may be giving me some trouble. I'm not sure. Let me find out. No, we're going to be good. Good to see. My icon is not good, but the video is good. So the title of the show, Pro-Americans. What's that all about? Well, you remember the folks that were in the video standing across the street from our protesters? The Trump folks, the pro-Tillis and the Trump type folks. They were occupying a spot next to the driveway. Remember, the police officer ushered the kids to a spot across from the driveway. It was a good spot. They weren't being pushed out of the way. They weren't being pushed someplace where nobody was going to see them, where they were invisible and inaudible to what was going on. They were right across the street from the driveway. It was actually a pretty good spot, and there were a lot more of them than there were of the pro-Trump type people. So they were in a good spot. But the pro-Trump people, and again, they were seriously outnumbered, probably about 3-1. There were just a handful of them. They left. After our guys were kind of hoping that they would see Tillis and Cunningham come in. If they did, they were in cars, and they weren't walking in front of the protesters. I don't hear anybody say, "That's Tillis." I think I heard somebody say that was Cunningham, but I didn't see him. So they didn't get to get their message directly to Tillis or Cunningham, but they were there, and they got some TV, so they're stuff that they were looking for. So they got directed to that spot across the street, and they did their thing. Everything that you've seen so far is them across the street. But then the pro-Trump people left, and left the corner next to the driveway empty. And you can see it here in this video, right across the street. There's nobody there, and the TV station is on the right. You can sort of see, get the cursor up on the video. That's the awning for the entrance to the TV station. So people would have been pulling in down the street and into the driveway there, and then parking down someplace and walking in. Within earshot of the protesters, but not something where you could actually holler at them because you really couldn't see them very well. Okay, so the pro-Trump people left this corner here, and the Sunrise folks said, "Well, let's go over there." So they did.
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like. And so what was it? The pro-Americans thing? Yeah. I was listening to the police on my police scanner. I'm a total geek. Listening to the police on my police scanner, and as the kids were walking across the street, the cops were saying, "What's what's going on. Are they trying to walk onto the TV station property? They're kind of worried that, this is going to get out of hand. These angry young kids that when the cop told them where to go, they said, okay, thank you, sir. Yeah, there were a fair number of Raleigh cops there. It was Raleigh cops that were handling pretty much the whole situation. So the cops are on the scanner saying, what's going on? And another cop said, no, they're just going to the corner where the pro-Americans were. They're going over to the corner where the pro-Americans were. Now, if I was going to be really charitable, I would say that he misspoke, and what he meant was where the pro-Tillis, where the pro-Trump demonstrators were. But maybe it just kind of indicates what he had in his mind all the time in the first place, because those are the pro-Americans. And these kids, well, how can they be pro-Americans? They're demonstrating against Tillis. They're demonstrating against Trump. Can they be pro-Americans? I mean, Trump will say that they're not Americans. This is what democracy looks like. Listen to Trump, though, and they are anti-Americans. Well, listen to conservatives and Republicans for decades, and these guys are all anti-Americans. So, anyway, that's figure out how to run your little TV station here, Gary. Before you complain about the way Channel 17 runs their TV station, figure out how to run this. This is a whole lot smaller than their operation, so you should have it. All right, that's it for this, I guess, sort of a mini episode. I'm not sure how long have we been on here. It's going to tell me almost a half hour. So, and all by myself, almost half hour. We'll be back on Sunday. We've got a guest, just lined up a guest, Lynn Bernstein, who is our elections and balloting expert, is going to join us and talk about some interesting things that have been going on with the North Carolina Board of Elections. We'll talk a lot about balloting. We'll talk about Breonna Taylor, I'm sure, and should be a fun show. Expect that Jen and Sarah will be there. I know Brendan is not going to be there. So that will be coming up this Sunday at 4 o'clock live over most of this same YouTube, Facebook Live, and Periscope, Twitter, and later on the replay. So tune in Sunday at 4 o'clock. And that is it for this episode of The Triangle Talk Show. Over and out.